Now there are varieties of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are varieties of services, but the same Lord. And there are varieties of activities, but it is the same God who activates all of them in everyone. To each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good.
Tearful Prince Harry claims Meghan Markle's life was made an absolute misery in High Court case. The Duke of Sussex made a third appearance at the High Court to give evidence in his legal case against Associated Newspapers Limited. He, Duke of Sussex, was visibly emotional as he concluded his evidence at the High Court in his trial against the publisher of the Daily Mail, saying, "They have made my wife's life an absolute misery." The Duke is part of a group of high-profile claimants, which includes Sir Elton John and his husband, David Furnish, campaigner Baroness Doreen Lawrence, politician Sir Simon Hughes, and actresses Sadie Frost and Liz Hurley. They are bringing legal action against Associated Newspapers Limited, ANL, over allegations of unlawful information gathering. This includes claims that information for articles was obtained by carrying out or commissioning unlawful activities, such as phone tapping and blagging private records. ANL has strongly denied wrongdoing and is defending the claims. Prince Harry, 41, spent around 2.5 hours answering questions from ANL's barrister on Wednesday before he was asked how the proceedings had made him feel by his barrister David Sherborne. The Duke, who was dressed in a blue suit and a striped tie, said, "It's fundamentally wrong to put us through this again when all we wanted was an apology and accountability. It's a horrible experience." Sounding emotional and appearing to be on the verge of tears, he continued, "They continue to come after me. They have made my wife's life an absolute misery, my lord." Leaving the courtroom, he continued to appear upset, sniffling as he exited through the door. Harry said the case against ANL felt like a recurring traumatic experience and a repeat of the past, adding, "I have never believed that my life is open season to be commercialized by these people." He later added that the claim that I don't have any rights to any privacy is disgusting. In his witness statement for the trial, Harry also said he has always had an uneasy relationship with the press, adding, "However, as a member of the institution, the policy was to never complain, never explain." The Duke also attended court on Monday and the start of proceedings on Tuesday, but was seen leaving the Royal Courts of Justice in London during the lunch break. He was scheduled to give evidence on Thursday, but opening submissions for the claimants and ANL concluded earlier than expected on Tuesday. A source close to the Duke of Sussex's claim said ahead of his appearance in the witness box, ANL, publishers of the Daily Mail, Mail on Sunday, and Mail Online, and their legal team have had months to inform the court that their opening argument would last less than 2 hours. Instead, they have had to resort to game playing and dirty tricks. Consistent with the way they have treated not just the Duke, but all of the victims in this case. The source continued, "They think that by pulling the schedule forward 24 hours, they are giving Prince Harry less time to prepare. He's been preparing for this moment for the last 3 years. Safe to say, he's ready." The trial is due to conclude in March, with a judgment due in writing at a later date. Meanwhile, Harry's father, King Charles, was back in London to attend a reception in support of Indonesian conservation efforts at Lancaster House, next door to his Clarence House residence, on Wednesday morning. The monarch was joined by the president of Indonesia, Prabowo Subianto, with the pair due to have an audience together afterwards at nearby St. James's Palace. Charles was away in Scotland at the start of the week as his youngest son flew in from California for the start of the trial. Harry is not expected to see his father during his UK visit, with the king following the general principle that a sovereign should steer clear of any active legal proceedings. Harry denies having leaky social circles. Barristers for ANL claimed in written submissions for the trial that the celebrities bringing legal action had leaky social circles, and that information also came from sources including spokespeople and previous reporting. Responding to this claim, Harry said, "My social circles were not leaky. I want to make that absolutely clear." He added that if he became suspicious of someone, I would have to cut contact with this person. Emotive witness statement. The Duke told how he felt like his every move, thought, or feeling was being tracked and monitored, and how the alleged actions created distrust and suspicion, and driven me paranoid beyond belief, isolating me in extracts of his witness statement provided on the first day of the trial on Monday. Harry was caused great distress by each and every episode of UIG, unlawful information gathering, against him by Associated or on its behalf, and the fruits of that UIG in the 14 unlawful articles of which he complains. His barrister David Sherborne said in written submissions, the barrister said that the 14 articles involved in Harry's claim, written between 2001 and 2013, focus primarily and in a highly intrusive and damaging way on the relationships which he formed, or rather tried to form, during those years prior to meeting his now-wife Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Prince Harry fights back tears in court, says UK tabloids made Meghan Markle's life an absolute misery. Prince Harry fought back tears in court as he spoke about his wife, Meghan Markle. On Wednesday, the Duke of Sussex spent 2.5 hours on the witness stand for his lawsuit against Associated newspapers, publishers of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. The 41-year-old appeared visibly emotional, telling London's High Court the Daily Mail made Meghan's life an absolute misery. When he left, Harry looked shaken and was still sniffling. According to a BBC reporter who was in court, Harry choked on the words. He was described as clearly very emotional as he condemned how his private life had been commercialized by the media. Harry said the idea that he isn't entitled to a private life is disgusting, adding that the legal fight has been another horrible experience for him and his family. Prince Harry closed out his day in court visibly upset, royal commentator Meredith Constant told Fox News Digital. Associated Newspapers was the outlet that published Meghan's letter to her father, Thomas Markle, in 2019, Constant added. It was somewhat rich for the defense to suggest that Prince Harry should have gone to the palace's preferred law firm, given how Meghan and Harry claimed they were ignored when they asked for legal action against the Mail on Sunday that year. Harry and 6 other claimants, including Elton John and Elizabeth Hurley, are suing over alleged privacy violations from the early 1990s through the 2010s. They claim the UK tabloids engaged in the clear, systematic, and sustained use of unlawful information gathering for 2 decades, according to attorney David Sherborne. Associated Newspapers denied the allegations, calling them preposterous. The publisher said the roughly 50 articles in question were based on legitimate sources, including acquaintances willing to talk about their famous friends. Harry said all he and the other claimants want is an apology, adding that it's awful to have to give evidence and relive painful experiences, the BBC reported. He said the hardest part of testifying was knowing that Associated Newspapers made my wife's life an absolute misery. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex stepped back as senior royals in 2020, citing intense media scrutiny and a lack of support from the palace. They relocated to California. No one disputes that Prince Harry and his family endured extraordinary media intrusion. Kinsey Schofield, host of YouTube's Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered, told Fox News Digital, his mother, Princess Diana, suffered some of the most aggressive and unethical press treatment in modern history, Schofield said. That included the deception used by journalist Martin Bashir to secure her BBC interview, for which there were virtually no consequences. I sympathize with Harry's belief that his privacy was violated and that illegal methods may have been used. That should never be acceptable. Whether he ultimately wins this case or not, I hope it brings him closure and allows him to focus on the future and the family he's built in California. He's sacrificing precious time with his children to pursue this, and that shouldn't be overlooked. Hopefully, this marks the final chapter for Harry. Constantly fighting the world is both emotionally and financially draining. Harry said private information attributed to sources and friends fueled his suspicion that people close to him were leaking details to journalists. He cited a 2005 article about his girlfriend at the time, Chelsea Davy, that included an extraordinary level of detail, making him feel he was part of an endless pursuit. A campaign, an obsession with having every aspect of my life under surveillance. Harry admitted the coverage made him paranoid beyond belief and claimed the outlet wanted to drive me to drugs and drinking to sell more papers. He said the death of his mother marked the beginning of his uneasy relationship with the media. But as a member of the institution, referring to the royal family, he was forced to follow the policy of never complain, never explain. Harry said vicious, persistent attacks on his wife pushed him to break with royal tradition and take the press to court. Why did Harry and Meghan leave the royal family? The Duke of Sussex is due to give evidence against the publisher of the Daily Mail as part of his latest legal case against the UK press. Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, moved to the US after stepping back from official royal duties. Why did Harry and Meghan leave the royal family? Harry and Meghan stepped down as senior royals in January 2020. They were angry about media intrusion and frustrated that Buckingham Palace prevented them developing their Sussex royal brand. Harry remains a prince and is fifth in line to the throne. The couple, who met in 2016 and married in 2018, kept their Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles, but are no longer addressed as His or Her Royal Highness, HRH. Harry also gave up his military titles. When Harry's father became king, the couple's two children became Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet of Sussex. Where do Harry and Meghan live? Harry and Meghan moved to California in June 2020, saying they wanted space to raise Archie. Lilibet was born there in 2021. The couple no longer have an official UK residence after being asked to vacate Frogmore Cottage, a Grade 2 listed property on the Windsor estate. Prince Harry's U.S. immigration status has been challenged by conservative U.S. think tank the Heritage Foundation because of past comments about taking drugs including cocaine and marijuana. How often do Harry and Meghan come to the UK? Since moving to the U.S., Prince Harry has made a number of trips to the UK. In September 2025, he spent about 50 minutes with the King at Clarence House. The Duke also attended charity events, including the Well Child Award ceremony for children with serious illness or disability. Harry has also returned to the UK for court cases about his security arrangements and action against newspaper publishers. In August 2024, he attended a memorial service for his uncle, Lord Robert Fellows. In February 2024, he flew back for a 45-minute meeting with Charles after Buckingham Palace announced that the king had cancer. Harry attended his father's coronation in May 2023 without Meghan. The Duke and Duchess returned to the UK for Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee in June 2022 and her funeral in September of that year. What is Harry's latest court case about? The case started on Monday, the 19th of January, and is expected to last for 9 weeks. Harry and others claim that Associated Newspapers publications gathered information about them by unlawful means. Fellow plaintiffs include Sir Elton John, Liz Hurley, and Baroness Doreen Lawrence, mother of murder victim Stephen Lawrence. Associated Newspapers Limited has strongly denied the preposterous allegations. Harry is not expected to meet King Charles while in the UK to give evidence. How do Meghan and Harry earn their money? As working royals, they received 95% of their annual income from Harry's father, then Prince of Wales. The taxpayer-funded sovereign grant made up the other 5%. When they stepped down as senior royals, King Charles gave them a substantial sum to help establish their new life. Harry and Meghan set up the Archewell Charitable Foundation, now known as Archewell Philanthropies. They also established commercial arrangements with private companies and launched their Sussex.com website. As ever. In March 2024, Meghan launched a lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard. It was later renamed As Ever, with jam, tea, cookie mixes, and flower sprinkles for sale. The Duchess has also launched a digital shop, allowing fans to purchase clothing, accessories, and jewelry. The Sussexes media company Archewell Productions makes programs for Netflix under a deal thought to be worth millions of dollars. They first featured in the Harry and Meghan documentary series and spoke about life in the royal family. The Heart of Invictus series discussed the Duke's emotional unraveling after military service in Afghanistan. With love, Meghan. A lifestyle show blending practical how-tos and candid conversation began in March 2025.